I'm trying to run through these videos
I'm
like a track
Panisi.
star.
I'm a former made member of the Lucchese crime family. This is how crime works. The biggest misconception about Cosa Nostra and the people that are involved in that life are people really believe.
Yo, I was watching The Sopranos and I really felt like I was like, Now I know the Mafia, but I don't even think anything was like that shit.
That there is honor, loyalty, and respect. These three principles which Cosa Nostra is based on, it no longer exists. Honor, loyalty, and respect have been replaced by selfishness and greed.
Yup.
The rules for a member is the rules of the family and the rules of Cosa Nostra. And those particular rules are, you're not to put your hand on another made member. You're not to go with another made member's wife or even girl, for that matter. You would need to be fully blooded Italian. Your mother and your father need to be Italian. Your bloodline needs to be all Italian. But with every rule, there's an exception. And there has been people who slipped through the cracks, so to speak. One of the rules is you shouldn't get involved in lawsuits. You should not sue people. And I know that there was a rule where you're not to get involved in stocks and bonds. I'm not 100% sure if that's still in effect today. Specifically in New York, you were not to kill women and
He
children
turned
or
federal.
family members in the mob. They were not allowed to use explosive devices such as bombs, because on the other
The
side,
Mafia.
in Italy and Sicily, they were known to use explosives to take out members during a war or just to take a member out. They didn't want that kind of attention in New York. So there's an exception to every rule. Frankie DeCicco, who was the underboss for the Gambino family, had an explosive device put under his car and he was blown up as a result of that. The no drug dealing rule applies to all the five families, but all the five families have drug dealing activities going on in it. Every family is going to have certain members that are involved in the drug business and kind of turn a blind eye to it because it brings in so much money. Cosa Nostra members today have no problem breaking the rules on a daily basis, whereas in Carlo Gambino's era, you couldn't break the rules. Breaking the rules meant getting yourself killed. So all these rules that were put in place for reasons are now broken.
Should I play Mafia? I'm thinking about playing Mafia now. Like, this talking about they go crazy. I'm trying to see these niggas go crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. Hold on, let me put this to the side. So I'm finna watch it on this screen. I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna watch this video
So
on
when
this
you have
screen.
an organization that no longer follows its own rules, it weakens the organization.
Yeah. He's spitting, but he's still
Before
snitching.
they created the five families, the head of each family was called like a father, so that's where they would get the name Godfather. And at some point, they broke it down to five fathers, and there was five families. So the five families in New York are the Genovese family, which in the street they were known as the West Side. That's how we refer to them. There's the Gambino family, there's the Lucchese family, there's the Colombo family, and the Bonanno family. And they're like the nucleus of
Wait, so
Cosa
is he
Nostra
is he
in the
talking
United
about
States.
new
So
or
as far as
like
the five
old?
families all being in New York, they controlled the entire state of New York. It wasn't only New York City. And then you have the creation of the commission, which was the idea basically of Meyer Lansky, who looked at it as a board of directors. The commission consisted of the head of each of the families, those five families, and they would basically make decisions on anything that went on between them. Territories were divided obviously by what family represented which part of New York City. It's kind of, they cut their own.
Yo, I don't know what this man is talking about.
But if it overlapped, that's where a commission would come in.
I don't know what he's talking about. We're gonna dive in now. We're gonna put our mind to it. Hold on. Y'all hear that? I hear that.
and make a ruling. So when they created the structure of the 5 families, they set it up more like a military. From the bottom of that pecking order, you have the associates, who are considered civilians. Anybody that's not a made member of that life is considered a civilian. Above them are the made members of the family, which are called friends. We call them friends in that life. Above them are captains, as we say, caporigines. They're the head of the crews. A family is represented by all the crews.
Wait, so there's nothing higher than the capos? There's no like boss or
That are in that family. And then above them are the administration of the family. The top of the administration is the boss, the underboss, and the consigliere. And that's the structure of the whole family. The word Cosa Nostra means our thing. And that
so they moving like a business, like they tried to get it like a business.
The structure of
that's what's
the
up.
mob, or as people would call it, mafia, belongs to them, the members of that life. The mob picks you. That life, Cosa Nostra, picks you. You don't pick that life. So before someone becomes an inducted member of a family, they become an associate. And usually how they become an associate is they're associated to someone who's already an inducted member. In order for an associate to be proposed, I think several factors take place. One is how good they get along with whoever it is that they're with, the soldier that they're with. You know, that they do what they're told to do. They keep their mouth closed. Once you're proposed, a ceremony takes place.
Talk about the swimming with the fishes. Bro, if you're gonna go and talk about how it works, but you might as well just full out snitch. You might as well just be like, yeah, I was with so and so and he did this when I was with them. Like, come on, bro. Give me some details, bro. What the
Who's conducting that ceremony is going to be a member or members of the administration. Along with them is going to be obviously the captain that's going to propose you that day. A pistol and a knife are on the table during this ceremony, and it's mostly there for symbolic reasons. Your trigger finger, whether you're a righty or a lefty, is pricked. Your blood is dropped on a saint, a picture of a saint. It just symbolizes that the oath that you're taking and the oath that you're about to take, you're taking it holding that saint in your hand. And they ultimately light that saint on fire, and you're moving that saint from hand to hand, and you're repeating after whoever's conducting the ceremony.
Yeah, they on some cold shit.
He is explaining the rules of that life to you. My position within the Lucchese family was as a soldier, but there was times that I acted for my captain in the capacity of an acting captain, specifically for a sit-down. The administration would pick the captains of the family. The requirement to be a captain obviously would be good leadership, so they would have to see something in that person to feel that he could lead the crew. That captain is responsible for each member of the crew, but he's also responsible for all the associates that are associated to that crew. A consigliere position is that of a counselor.
So if one of them bring like some nigga that does some crazy shit, they gonna blame the captain for it? Like the people gonna blame the captain for it? That's crazy. Like, I didn't even know that, man.
So he is specifically handling not only internal, what we would call beefs or struggles inside of the family, but external as well. The difference between a boss and an underboss, there's not a whole big difference with the exception of the title. Obviously, the boss is the head of the family, but the underboss holds just as much weight in that family as the boss. Overall, a boss's position is to oversee the family. He's really in charge of everything that goes on underneath him, which goes through the administration, all his captains, all the soldiers in the
Yo,
family, all the way down
yo, how the cops look at this and they're like, oh, that's normal. Like, come on, bro.
to the associates. The way the life is structured, the boss is supposed to abide by
I
the
mean,
same
most of them
rules
was
that the
on
captain.
payroll with him, so
His administration,
I
his
don't doubt it.
soldiers, and everyone else in that life.
They was corrupt.
A boss of a family or a family together could bring in hundreds of millions of dollars per year. There's many
Damn.
reasons to fill a boss position. One obviously would be a boss is arrested, incarcerated. One would be a boss passes away through health reasons, and there is a void in the position. But then there's also reasons, like in the Paul Castellano situation, a boss that they felt was being greedy, and the family turned on the boss. There's different scenarios where a boss can be taken out, replaced, or ultimately killed, for that matter.
So like, if you get a bag and you like, dang, I want to keep this bag, but I gotta split it up with the family, and then you like, matter of fact, let me just keep the bag. You gonna get killed by the family? Like what? I'm just about a bag, bro. I'm just about a bag. I'm just about a bag, bro. I'm just about a bag.
I think years ago when it was first created, the five families, there was a lot more corruption with having law enforcement on the payroll than as it is today.
Yeah.
I think there's less of that going on, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't go on. As far as political influence, obviously it would go through putting money in people's pockets for political favors. In present times, I don't think that they have the political power that they once had. I don't think they're able to corrupt the politicians as they were years ago. Initially,
I mean, if you think about it, politicians are already corrupt. Like, you can't corrupt what's already corrupted, man. All you gonna do is just make it more corrupt. Like, niggas are already corrupt.
I believe
So.
the mob took control.
They probably
of the
is.
unions by force.
They just
They would
doing
put
everything
people in.
underground.
Those people would corrupt the union, take over the unions, and that's how they were able to control most of the unions, specifically in New York City. But today they have their hand in it, in little areas, but they don't control the unions like they did in the past.
Yeah, they done.
Cosa Nostra came to be in New York sometime in the early 1900s. This was an organization and structure that came from the other side, which means Italy, Sicily. When the immigrants from those countries came here to this country, the Italians were almost like second-class citizens, and they were discriminated against when they came. So in the beginning, it was to fight oppression, but naturally that turned into committing organized crime and criminal acts to gain a profit from. So when the average citizen started to take notice of Cosa Nostra here, I believe that the first reactions were fear and intimidation. Because they feared and they were intimidated over this group of Italians, they were also fearful to go to law enforcement. They were fearful to talk out against them. In turn, Cosa Nostra gained its power because of this.
Ooh. Ugh, that was hard. Ugh. They were scared to speak, so I got stronger and stronger.
So I joined
Awesome,
Cosa
awesome,
Nostra because
awesome,
I came
horror
from a
movie type.
neighborhood, both Ozone Park and Howard Beach, which was replete with guys in that life, and I believed that I looked up to them at that time and wanted to be just like them. If you're around people that are in that life, inducted members, you're at some point you become an associate, and we were associated, my cousin and I, to the Gambino family through John Gotti Jr. And the time I'm talking about, I was around 14, 15 years old at that time. So sometime around
John
2012,
Wait a minute. Ain't that a famous one, bro? John got. Yo, I think. Wasn't that a famous?
I became an associate and on record with the Lucchese crime family. By 2013, I was an inducted member in the family. I stayed an inducted member in the family until 2018. I ultimately winded up leaving the life because the family that I was a member
Damn.
of falsely accused me of being
Nigga
an
famous.
informant when it wasn't true.
What happened?
Until 2018. I ultimately winded up leaving the life because the family that I was a member of falsely accused me of being an informant when it wasn't true. They now were laying on me, which meant that they sent people to lay and get my pad in. Usually when that is done, it's either to A, hurt you, or B, kill you. I made my decision that I would never go back to my former friends who turned on me. So obviously my life.
Yeah. So they accuse you for snitching, and then you gonna get on and snitch again, bro? Like, well, okay.
Life has took a dramatic change. I'm no longer able to see my family as much as I like to. I'm not able to live as close to them as I would like to. I have to watch every place I go, and be very careful at what I do. And my plans have to be mapped out of where I'm going and what I'm doing. So my life took a big change.
Just move. Go somewhere else, bro.
In my opinion, in 20 years from now, Cosa Nostra is hardly going to exist in New York. I don't believe that they're going to be able to survive. Cosa Nostra now, compared to years ago, has definitely declined. And the reason is the sentences that are being handed out. The government, and specifically the FBI, have unlimited funds. They're able to go after them. They're able to take out bosses with the RICO. As far as earning money by committing crimes or doing various criminal acts, it's limited today than it was. So now once you limit money making and money earning, you're taking away power, because money brings power. And
I mean, every day,
organized crime today.
like now, like you got. I don't know. Like now, crime is like really hard to do. Like once somebody call that 911, bro, it's over for you. The cops gonna be there in like 20 minutes. 20 minutes, nah. 15 seconds.
It's definitely less powerful than it was.
Some GTA type.
In the past few years, there's been an increase in arrests and a large number of.
Unless it's like one of them. Unless it's something else. Like it gotta be something like very important for the cops to come that fast.
Specific families are targeted, and the reason being is that it's hard for members of Cosa Nostra to operate without law enforcement, specifically the FBI, knowing what they're doing. There are more people that are informants, cooperators. They have people that are working inside families with the FBI, giving the FBI information. That's how they're dismantling families, family by family. They dismantle them. Members of law enforcement from the United States now work very closely with members of law enforcement from people outside of the United States, like Italy and Sicily. They jointly create cases together. I made the decision to create a blog, and I started just writing from my experiences. So the first podcast I
Snitching again
is also the name of the blog, which is called Sit Down News, and that's also the name of the podcast. And
I'm sorry, bro. You was about to get your bag, but not with me, my nigga. Not with me. You're not getting your bag with me.